Give a few people some time to jump on and let it warm up. I'm ready. All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, man. We in the building. We back. Well, we never left, but we back on that early side of things. And man, just thankful for another day that God has granted us. The Lord has given us another day to experience just life. And today, man, like one of the things that's like just on my mind, on my heart is just for peace for, and not like peace from things that, how should I say, like just clarity, like peace from just a lot of like, man, just what's going on, like as this year draws to an end, like just peace going into, man, not even just next year, but just going into tomorrow. 2020 just being different, like a whole different. So I'm just really just wanting to focus on just peace, man, and how the best ways to show it, to live in it. So it's praying for peace over our lives, man, and not just like peace that the world gives, but like peace of God, which is like a different type of understanding. So the peace of God surpasses even our understanding, surpasses what we try to seek out as peace. And a lot of people, and even ourselves, like we sometimes don't experience proper peace, and we be looking for it in different outlets and different places, when we really want the peace of God, which gives us another different type of understanding when we face in different trials and tribulations and circumstances, scenarios that come up that's just try to rob us of our peace, so just praying for peace this morning. Peace over everybody, and appreciate you guys for tapping in, man. And we in day 26 of our 31 days of wisdom. And it's like the last 2 weeks kind of been real spread out, real sporadic with like the time. And then I was just like, yesterday was like, man, I gotta still finish strong, still finish the way I started, the example that I was wanting to display. So just want to finish strong, man. So thank God we up early, getting to the spot, and we are in Proverbs 26 today, and we're still looking at similitudes of instructions, or similitudes of warnings. And what similitudes is just a comparison. It's a comparison of things to bring about where we can see the correlation in God's word and in Proverbs and in wisdom, and can see those comparisons and then get the instruction that's in it so that it better our life. And instructions, sometimes instructions can be given as like a warning, on what to do, how to carry out what you're doing, a process into doing it. So we're going to get to it. We're in chapter 26 of Proverbs, reading from the good book, the good word of God. And we're just going to get it, man, and just chop it up and tap in and just get this day started, get this morning going, get the vibes and the energies going, and have you have a great morning, a great just beginning to your day. And peace is what we just want to have this morning and carry it out through the whole day. So, all right, in verse 1, it says, like snow in summer and like rain in harvest, so honor is not fitting for a fool. Like a sparrow in its flitting, like a swallow in its flying, so a curse without cause does not alight. So these are comparisons that we're reading and seeing. These are like some similarities, when it says comparing like snow and summer and comparing like rain and harvest. And it's saying that so is honor and a fool, things that are honorable. But a fool is not a good comparison thing. A fool doesn't understand honor and won't understand honor and won't do honorable things. So it's comparing it to like snow and summer. Those are like guarantees, basically. Verse 3, a whip is for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the back of fools. So another comparison of things that go hand in hand. So, a whip is for a horse to get it to do what it is that you want it to do. Bridle for the donkey. The bridle is basically the thing that is connected to the donkey or even a horse's mouth, and it stirs the donkey, makes it stop, start, go. So then it says, and then a rod for the back of fools. So meaning that punishment is a similitude or a comparison for a fool. Those things go together. The rod, punishment, discipline is for a fool. Verse 4, this is a really important verse. It says, do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you will also be like him. So fools only operate in foolishness, right? And if you answer a fool according to his foolishness or be baited into the foolishness of the fool, and you're trying to give answers or trying to debate or trying to persuade or interact or whatever it may be, it's saying that if you continue to basically entertain foolish things, foolish thoughts, foolish people, then you'll also be foolish or become foolish and won't even recognize it. Verse 5 says, answer a fool as his folly deserves, that he be not wise in his own eyes. So when we recognize foolishness, the way that we answer that foolishness is as it deserves, or what foolishness is coming off. And when we think of foolishness, like compared to like ignorance or being naive or being gullible or indecisive or making decisions that lead to foolish results. So if you answer a fool in his folly as it deserves, then that person, it will allow them to not be wise in their foolishness. Some people find foolishness in some people are foolish in their wisdom, like they think they wise, but it's really just another level of just foolishness. So just avoiding foolishness at all costs is the thing. Avoiding the things that create foolishness, that create chaos, that create distress, that create stresses. You know what I'm saying? Foolishness can come in the form of negativity. Foolishness can come in the form of backbiting and gossip. So you want, excuse me, we want to stand clear of foolishness, because it can be like an infectious disease. Like foolishness spreads, and if we see somebody operating in foolishness and we take it and treat it as their wisdom, then we won't even realize we're becoming like the fool or like the foolish person. Verse 6, he cuts off his own feet and drinks violence, who sends a message by the hand of a fool. So even when you communicate foolishness, or even when you communicating back and forth with folly or foolishness, is comparing it to saying it's like a person who cuts off his own feet and drinks violence. So not really, it's saying literally like you gonna be so foolish that it's like you cutting off your foot, but it's saying that the way that you can engage and interact with foolishness, it would be the results, and how easy it will be to fall into that would be like cutting off your foot or drinking violence or setting your own self up, creating traps for yourself, like bringing harm to yourself through foolishness because you don't even know it. And that could be the same as like when we making decisions that we making gambles on like our life, the choices that we make with the people we interact or entertain, the thoughts, the habits and stuff like that. So the wisdom that we need from God's word will cut through foolishness. It will cut through folly and ignorance and being naive, being lazy, not being proactive, constantly procrastinating. All that stuff we can reason, and it can bring about even more foolishness. Like when you think of like real kids now, like just childish they can be. Well, that's because foolishness is bound up in a child's heart. Like they don't recognize it, they don't know it, but as we get older, we're supposed to remove ourselves from like foolish or childlike things. And some people, are full adults and yet still operate in such foolishness that it's like dang, you childish. So wisdom will mature us. So, and there's different levels to foolishness. So verse 7 says, like the legs which are useless to the lame, so is a proverb in the mouth of fools. So, when a person is like crippled or lame, they have their legs, but their legs don't work. It's saying that that's the same as like a proverb being, or wisdom being in the mouth of a fool. It won't work. It doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? So that's a similitude or a comparison. That's what that's saying. Verse 8 says, like one who binds a stone in a sling, so is he who gives honor to a fool. It's like a weapon. Foolishness is like a weapon. So for those who, tapping in, we're in chapter 26, and it's about comparisons, like similitudes. So everything that says like is comparing it, like comparing foolishness like to a thing. So for this verse, it says like one who binds a stone in a sling. So when you think of that, that's like a weapon. Like think about David when he slayed Goliath. He put the stone in the sling, and the comparison is saying that it's like one who gives honor to a fool. You giving honor where it's not due, and a foolish person doesn't even know how to recognize and use the honor that they have in a way that doesn't bring about more foolishness. It's just a higher level of foolishness now. So in words, it's saying that giving honor to a fool is like comparing it to like a weapon, like a stone in a sling. And you've seen what it did to Goliath. So imagine, if you give, just kind of look at it like this. If we foolish and we make foolish decisions, it's like giving a gun to a person who got like jittery hands or something. That would be foolish to do. So it's like when giving honor to a fool, it's like putting a weapon in his hand, in a sense, because it won't be found in him. It won't be. It's not something that's recognizable. They don't use it well. So we want God's wisdom so that we don't operate in foolishness when we're in places and position of honor and prestige and, things of that nature. Verse 10 says, like an archer who wounds everyone, so is he who hires a fool or who hires those who pass by. Let's see, what does that say? All right, so verse 11, like a dog that returns to its vomit is a fool who repeats his volley. I'm sorry, not his volley, but his folly. So, we know about how dogs, they that's disgusting. They vomit and then they leave and then come back to their vomit. That's like a person who is foolish and returns to their foolishness. Or in this case, a person who continues to be a repeat offender, just constantly keeps repeating foolish acts, and then the consequences doesn't keep them from doing it again. They just keep doing the same thing, keep catching cases, not just, illegal and stuff like that, but in your own life, the decisions we make, the people we, what I'm saying, the relationships we start, the moves we make. We don't want to keep making a mess, leave from it, and then come back to the mess and keep going back and forth to the mess. So that's what that comparison is like. Verse 12, do you see a man wise in his own eyes? It's a question. Do you see a man wise in his own eyes? It says there is more hope for a fool than for him. So this is basically a prideful person, like a person who's just prideful, person who, can't receive instruction, can't tell them nothing. They know everything. So it's saying that there's more hope for a fool to get his or her life together than it is for a prideful person to be humble and not have to come upon destruction before finding humility. Verse 13, the sluggard or the lazy, the procrastinator says there is a lion in the road. A lion is in the open square. As the door turns on its hinges, so does the sluggard on his bed. The sluggard buries his hand in his dish. He is weary of bringing it to his mouth again. The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can give a discreet answer. So all this is really talking about, this real deep, talking about laziness and just being so, sleep, you know what I'm saying? And like, you so lazy that, you will see trouble and won't really do much to avoid it. You'll know it's coming and really just won't do much to avoid it. You'll see an opportunity and won't do much to make good on it. You'll have the resources to increase and better your life and won't take advantage. Like, that's all different forms of being a sluggard, being lazy, being a procrastinator, not being diligent, having a slack hand, not being, no motivation. So what that does is that will bring poverty. You'll always constantly be in want. You'll always crave and won't be able to have because of the level of your laziness. So wisdom will give us insight on even when we like sleeping on our vision, sleeping on ourselves. Like, and it says in that last part of verse 16, it says the sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can give a discreet answer. So if you have 7 people lined up who can give like basically a sound answer, can give a discreet answer, it's saying that a foolish person, a sluggard person, a prideful person, they're so prideful that their one answer in themselves is better than 7 men who can give a straight, confirmed, factual answer. Like, that's when you know you really wrapped up in yourself. When your truth is such your truth that it's a lie, you don't even know it, and 7 people can confirm it, but you're just too wrapped into your own philosophy, your own ideas, and that's what separates people from being able to see improvement in their life. All right, verse 17, like one who takes a dog by the ears is he who passes by and meddles with strife not belonging to him. So you know the consequences of when you take a dog by its ears. It's just a no-no. I said it's a no-no. This is not a wise thing. That's actually foolish to do. So what it's comparing it to is like a person who passes by and meddles with strife not belonging to him. So basically like a person that's just always in other people's business, gossiping, nosy, like that type is what it's really comparing it to. Because basically you're not involving yourself, that has nothing to do with you. And then if you involve yourself too deep, now you'll be also involved in those consequences. Verse 18 says, like a madman who throws firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was just joking, or was I not joking? You know people that be doing that, man. Like, they'll do something like really just stupid, really foolish, and then it'll blow up in their face, and it'll bring about a different result that they wasn't expecting. The first thing they say, I was just playing, or I didn't mean, I was just joking. And that's just, for real foolishness. to even like put people or yourself in a situation or predicament, only to then come back and be like, dang, I was just playing. So verse 20 says, for lack of wood the fire goes out, and where there is no whisperer contention quiets down. Like charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. So then we're still looking at comparisons and similitudes, and then with instruction. So basically it's comparing, like, charcoal to hot embers and how that produces fire on wood. And it's the same thing, a contentious man to strife. So that's like looking at how if you spread a rumor, you spread something false, it's spread and it ignites like fire. So we don't want to do that. We want to just constantly be putting peace out there, love, speaking positivity, being optimistic, speaking and declaring life. Life and death lay in the power of the tongue. So if we speak in death, we're gonna receive death. All right, verse 22. The words of a whisperer are like dainty morsels, and they go down into the innermost parts of the body. Like an earthen vessel overlaid with silver dross are burning lips and a wicked heart. He who hates disguises it within his lips, but he lays up deceit in his heart. So that's really something important to look at. Like, people who really feel a certain way about you or feel a certain way about certain things, they can sometimes disguise it with their lips, meaning that people will say one thing, but like it says here, but he lays up deceit in his heart, but their heart is different. So like how people can just tolerate, it's like tolerating somebody, like being in somebody's presence and you speaking and saying one thing, but your actions and your heart, deceit is lied up in it. So you really, your heart not with them, no. You say like, yeah, I fool with, I fool with you and I'm with you and, man, like, or even just real divisive things, like how some people will lie and manipulate to take something from somebody else without like feeling bad about stealing it for real. So they'll say all these other things with their lips, but their heart is definitely not with you. When he speaks graciously, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred covers itself with gall, his wickedness will be revealed before the assembly. So people gonna always expose who they really are. They're gonna always expose themselves. Like, you're gonna always be able to catch a person up in what they say, and then how their actions won't match it. Verse 27, he who digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone, it will come back on him. So just people that try to set you up, try to set up traps, they're ultimately setting up their own trap for themselves. The stone that rolls away is basically like saying he who rolls a stone, it will come back on him. So, you're going to reap what you sow. You trying to set somebody up, you ultimately setting yourself up in the end. And our last verse says, a lying tongue hates those it crushes, and a flattering mouth works ruin. So when you look at that, a lying tongue, when you speak lies, it crushes. When you speak negativity, it crushes. And a flattering mouth, when you look at it's basically like a deceitful mouth, like flattery. Flattery is not always good because it might be overhyping or can come off as misleading, and it's almost like equivalent to like lying, and it brings about ruin. So when we speak in death, when we lying on people, not operating with wisdom, then it can bring about ruin. You know what I'm saying? You can ruin yourself. So that's today's reading. Proverbs chapter 20. What was he in? 26. Proverbs 26. So we got 5 more chapters, 5 more days. We're gonna keep going, keep grinding. I'm finishing out strong. And I've been noticing that, like, the closer you get to the finish line, the closer you get to the goal, the more oppositions and things try to like stop you. And I'm like, man, like, this was a goal, this was a vision that God gave me to get on and be in a position, opportunity for 31 days to get up and read the word of God and share it and pray. And it's like, man, it's easy to like start. It gets a little challenging in the middle, but then the end, because you see it, you closer, so it makes you kind of like get lax, and then sometimes you can be like one day away from your greatness, from all the hard work you've been putting in, and you just slack off like, man, I'm almost there. And it's like, nah, we got to finish strong. So we'll definitely be back 6:30 in the morning these next 4 days. Today Thursday, so we got the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st. So we getting it, man. So I appreciate y'all for tapping in. May God just bless your day today. Good energy today, good vibes. Walk in your purpose, and just stay pressing, man. Stay strong, and just stay faithful in these real challenging last and evil days. So I appreciate y'all. Love y'all, man. God bless. Till we meet again.